Welcome to Sukima English News. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Mark.
Today we'll explore the dilemma of performance anxiety, the stability of LNG fuel supply, and a local education board's personnel changes. Our story today is about choking under pressure, why some can't perform their best in important moments. The article from東洋経済 Online dives into the dilemma faced by people who are weak under pressure.
Many listeners might relate. It's easy to say someone is mentally weak, but this article suggests it's more complex, right? Not just willpower.
Exactly. It's not simply about lacking mental toughness. It points to underlying psychological mechanisms and brain function under stress. Past experiences and beliefs play a role, sometimes unconsciously.
So it's not just the present, but also the past. What kind of past experiences?
The article mentions critical comments from a coach or pressure from a promise like taking over a family business. These create unconscious pressure impacting performance. Even high goals can increase anxiety.
Counterintuitive. High goals should motivate, but they can worsen pressure. Is the root cause in our minds, or something else?
The article suggests it's about brain circuits and mental state, not just being mentally weak. Under pressure, anxiety can lead to overthinking, disrupting focus, and fine motor control. Animal experiments show hindered performance with huge rewards, suggesting it's not exclusively human.
That comparison with animals highlights how ingrained this reaction is. How does this manifest as nervousness?
It's linked to performance anxiety and competition anxiety. During presentations or musical performances, negative thoughts accompany performance anxiety, directly decreasing performance and well-being. Studies show a negative correlation between performance and cognitive anxiety.
So higher anxiety means lower performance. Are there traits that make some less prone to this?
Yes, those less affected tend to view the audience and spotlight positively. They prioritize personal satisfaction over external evaluations and accept flaws while still evaluating performance. Realistic thinking is key.
Realistic thinking. What does that look like?
It means accepting failures, aiming for what they've practiced, not trying to be someone they're not, and not expecting unachieved things. Setting realistic goals, separate from ideals, reduces performance anxiety.
That makes sense. It's about managing expectations. The article mentions eustress and distress. Can you explain?
Certainly, excessive pressure becomes distress, harmful stress, leading to anxiety and discomfort. Moderate pressure is eustress, positive stress improving concentration. Beyond that optimal level, it negatively impacts performance.
So there's a sweet spot for pressure, and data supports this.
Absolutely. Being unable to perform at one's best is a statistical reality. Basketball free throw stats show success rates decrease in extremely high-stakes situations.
That's a perfect example. How does this affect people in Japan, or what are future implications?
In Japan, with emphasis on group harmony, this pressure can be amplified. In work, failing crucial presentations or negotiations can lead to missed promotions or lost client trust. This impacts career paths and lives significantly.
It's clear this is a widespread issue with tangible consequences. Understanding these mechanisms is the first step to overcoming it.
Indeed, by recognizing causes rather than self-blame, individuals can develop strategies to manage pressure and perform closer to their potential.
Thank you, Sarah. That was an insightful look into a common human struggle.
My pleasure, Mark. Our next story takes us to global energy markets and their impact on Japan, focusing on the Middle East tensions. Military actions involving Iran have raised concerns about energy supply stability.
Serious concern, Sarah. What's the main worry for Japan?
The primary concern is liquefied natural gas, or LNG, vital for Japan's thermal power. Tensions escalated in late February 2026 after US and Israel attacks on Iran, leading to Iran's retaliation. This has effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz, a key energy transport route, and halted Qatar's LNG production.
The Strait of Hormuz is a critical choke point, and Qatar is a major LNG exporter. A shutdown there would have significant repercussions.
Precisely. Iran's Revolutionary Guard declared the strait blocked, confirmed by British maritime authorities. Qatar Energy had to suspend LNG production due to facility damage. In 2024, Qatar supplied about 19% of global LNG exports.
That's a substantial portion of global supply. Are we facing immediate shortages or price hikes?
Mr. Mori of the Electric Power Development Federation stated Japan's LNG dependence on the Middle East is lower than for crude oil. He believes immediate supply won't be affected, but they are monitoring the situation closely.
That's reassuring. Can you provide figures on Japan's LNG sourcing and Middle Eastern dependency?
Certainly, for 2025, Qatar was projected to supply 5.3% of Japan's LNG imports and the UAE 1.0%. Imports via the Strait of Hormuz accounted for about 6.3%. Including Oman, which bypasses the strait, total Middle Eastern dependency for LNG is around 10.8%.
That's quite different from oil. What's the crude oil import situation?
The contrast is stark. Japan's crude oil dependency on the Middle East is extremely high, at 95.9% in fiscal year 2024. Saudi Arabia provided 40.1% and the UAE 43.6%.
A massive difference. So the Middle East is critical for oil, but less so for LNG. What about Japan's current LNG stockpiles?
As of March 1st, 2026, major power companies held approximately 2.19 million tons of LNG reserves for power generation, enough for about 3 weeks of annual consumption. The Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry also reported nearly 4 million tons in stock, roughly a year's worth of Strait of Hormuz imports. This was deemed sufficient to prevent immediate power and gas disruptions.
So despite Qatar's production halt, Japan has substantial reserves for immediate needs. Are there other potential effects?
Yes, Qatar's production suspension has already impacted the Asian spot market price JKM. It rose from $11.06 per million British thermal units on February 27, 2026 to $24.80 by March 9th. This price surge is expected to affect other Asian countries.
How might this impact Japanese consumers directly?
While immediate supply is secured, upward pressure on LNG import prices due to the Middle East conflict is anticipated. If the situation persists or worsens, Japan might increase its reliance on the spot market, leading to higher procurement costs. This could eventually reflect in electricity and gas bills for households and businesses. Therefore, despite diversified LNG sourcing, long-term Middle Eastern instability remains an energy cost risk factor. Moving on to our third news item today, we're looking at an announcement from a prefectural board of education regarding personnel changes and a focus on improving child-rearing support systems.
This sounds like it directly addresses some of the challenges many people face, especially working parents. What's the core of this announcement?
The Prefectural Board of Education has announced regular personnel transfers affecting a total of 3,164 staff members. The key aspect here is that these transfers are being implemented with the specific goal of strengthening the child-rearing support system within educational institutions.
So it's not just about filling positions, but about strategically placing people to improve support for teachers who are also parents. That's a very proactive approach.
Exactly. This initiative comes against a backdrop of significant issues in the education sector, particularly concerning the long working hours of teachers and resulting mental health problems. For teachers in their child-rearing years, balancing work and family life is incredibly difficult.
I can imagine. The demands of teaching are immense, and adding the responsibilities of raising children must be overwhelming. What kind of data or research supports this connection between personnel changes and teacher well-being?
Research indicates that personnel transfers can have a dual impact on teachers' growth and adaptation. While they can offer new experiences, they also bring challenges like changes in job duties, handover burdens, and even relocation. For parents, these impacts are magnified, potentially affecting their lives and careers significantly.
That makes sense. A transfer can be a fresh start, but it also disrupts established routines and support networks, which are crucial for parents. Have there been specific statistics on teacher workload and the difficulties they face with childcare?
Yes, data shows that the average daily working hours for teachers reach 10 to 11 hours, far exceeding the standard. Surveys also reveal that the average actual overtime, including work brought home, often exceeds 80 hours per month, which is the level associated with overwork deaths.
80 hours of overtime per month is staggering. It's no wonder that balancing work and family is so challenging. Are there figures on how this affects retention, especially for younger teachers?
There are indeed statistics indicating that many teachers in their 20s and 30s, particularly those with young children, leave the profession. While systems for parental leave and reduced hours exist, the sheer volume of work makes it hard for teachers to fully utilize them.
And what about male teachers? Is their participation in parental leave also low?
Yes, the uptake of parental leave by male teachers also tends to be low, often due to concerns about burdening colleagues or their spouses. This highlights a systemic issue where the structure of the profession itself makes it difficult for both mothers and fathers to adequately manage family responsibilities.
It seems like this personnel move by the Prefectural Board of Education is a direct response to these pressing issues. By strategically rearranging staff, are they aiming to create more supportive environments within schools themselves?
That is the apparent intention. By ensuring that teachers who are parents have access to better support, either through colleagues or administrative arrangements facilitated by these transfers, the board hopes to create a more sustainable working environment.
So beyond just ensuring adequate staffing, it's about fostering a culture that acknowledges and supports the needs of teachers as parents. How does this situation in one prefecture potentially reflect broader trends across Japan?
This prefectural initiative reflects a nationwide concern about teacher burnout and the declining birth rate. Japan faces a significant challenge in retaining skilled educators. Improving working conditions and providing better child-rearing support are crucial for attracting and keeping talented individuals in the teaching profession.
It's a complex problem, but this move by the Prefectural Board of Education seems like a concrete step towards a solution. It highlights how local administrative bodies can play a vital role in implementing policies that directly impact the lives of their citizens, in this case, teachers and their families.
Absolutely. By focusing on these systemic issues through personnel management, they are aiming for a long-term improvement in the education system. This approach could serve as a model for other prefectures grappling with similar challenges.
It's a reminder that even seemingly administrative decisions like personnel transfers can have profound social implications. Thank you for breaking down this story for us, Sarah.
You're welcome, Mark. This initiative underscores the importance of creating a work environment where professionals, especially those in demanding fields like education, can thrive both personally and professionally. Now let's look at some key vocabulary from today's stories. First, from our story about performance under pressure, we have choking under pressure. This means failing to perform well in an important situation, often due to nervousness or anxiety. For example, the star player was accused of choking under pressure in the final match.
That's a very common phrase and useful to understand.
Absolutely. Next, we have psychological mechanisms. This refers to the mental processes and ways our minds work, especially when dealing with stress or difficult situations. For instance, understanding the psychological mechanisms behind fear can help us manage it.
So, it's about the inner workings of our minds.
Exactly. And related to that, we have brain circuits. This refers to the pathways and connections in our brain that transmit signals. The article suggests that under pressure, these circuits can be disrupted. A sentence: scientists are studying how stress affects brain circuits involved in decision-making.
Fascinating how they connect the physical brain to mental performance.
Moving to our energy story, we have energy supply stability. This means the reliability and consistency of the availability of energy sources like oil and gas. For example, geopolitical events can threaten energy supply stability.
That's a crucial concept in today's world.
It really is. Next, we have key energy transport route. This is a vital waterway or passage through which large amounts of energy resources are shipped. The Strait of Hormuz is a prime example. A sentence: the closure of this key energy transport route caused global market jitters.
So, a bottleneck for global energy.
Precisely. We also have halted LNG production. This means that the process of producing liquefied natural gas has been stopped. For example, damage to facilities has halted LNG production in the region.
That would have immediate economic consequences.
Definitely. Now for our final story about education and support systems, we have Child Rearing Support System. This refers to the network of services, policies, and structures designed to help parents raise their children. A sentence, the government is investing in a better child rearing support system for families.
That sounds like a very positive initiative.
It is, and closely related we have strengthening the system. This means making something more effective, robust, and capable of achieving its goals. For example, the board's decision aims at strengthening the system for teacher welfare.
So, making it more powerful and reliable.
Exactly. Finally, we have balancing work and family life. This phrase refers to the challenge of managing professional responsibilities and personal or family duties effectively. A sentence, many employees struggle with balancing work and family life.
A challenge many of our listeners might face.
Indeed. That's all for our vocabulary segment today. Time for our shadowing practice. Let's practice using the key vocabulary we just learned. Many athletes worry about choking under pressure during important competitions.
Let's try that one more time at normal speed.
Many athletes worry about choking under pressure during important competitions. Understanding the psychological mechanisms of stress can help us cope better.
Let's hear that again, please.
Understanding the psychological mechanisms of stress can help us cope better. The intense focus required for surgery can affect delicate brain circuits.
Once more, please.
The intense focus required for surgery can affect delicate brain circuits. Maintaining energy supply stability is crucial for national security.
Let's repeat that sentence.
Maintaining energy supply stability is crucial for national security. The Suez Canal is a key energy transport route for oil and gas.
Could you say that again?
The Suez Canal is a key energy transport route for oil and gas. A major storm has halted LNG production at several offshore facilities.
Let's practice that sentence again.
A major storm has halted LNG production at several offshore facilities. The city is expanding its child-rearing support system for new parents.
One more time, please.
The city is expanding its child-rearing support system for new parents. The company is focusing on strengthening the system for employee training.
Let's try that one more time at normal speed.
The company is focusing on strengthening the system for employee training. It's a constant challenge for many to find a healthy way of balancing work and family life.
Please repeat that sentence.
It's a constant challenge for many to find a healthy way of balancing work and family life. The teacher's ability to remain calm was tested, but she avoided choking under pressure.
Let's try that again at normal speed.
The teacher's ability to remain calm was tested, but she avoided choking under pressure. That's all for today's Sukima English news.
We hope you enjoyed learning with us.
Remember to keep practicing your English every day.
Subscribe to our channel for more updates.
See you next time.